Amen. What it is. This is Deem, and I am your host, and this is By Any Means. There go that Cash App, $ Deem by any means. There go to PayPal, @Deem by any means. You see that heart with the $? That's the super chat. You can press that at any time your heart desires. Please say it with me, y'all. I don't care if you leave $1, $10, $1,000. It is much, much, much appreciated. Shout out to my guy, Tay Jones, man. Tay, don't be mad at me, gang. But your guy trying to undo the work, and I got to talk about it. Tay, I've been trying, brother, but they won't stop. So, Tay, if you hear this, talk to your mans. Tell your mans to chill, or I can't chill. briannormansr is back out here for the 50th time talking about Jaron Ennis. The problem I have with that senior and all my fellow Atlanteans, this is the same man that told Bill on the phone with my guy, Tay, Bill, why you keep talking about Jaron Ennis? Jaron Ennis is at 154. Why you keep talking about Jaron Ennis? Stop talking about Jaron Ennis. That was Brian Norman Sr.'s words verbatim. Brian Norman Sr., sir, respectfully, because I like you, for real, Senior. I actually like you, and I like your son. Why won't you take your own advice, Senior? You got up on Mill City again and said Jaron Ennis is not great. He's not special. We put him there. What else? What else the man say? He's not going to fight none of the top guys at 154. Senior, how you know that? You know Jaron Boots in his business? Because last time I checked, you said don't nobody know y'all business. Last time I checked, you tried to fight your son. Ain't your son one of the top guys? So what you going to tell us, Jaron Ennis never sent you an offer? It's not on Jaron Ennis to take the offer for you. That's on y'all. Y'all could have definitely took that offer. Because I don't believe y'all still got $1.7 million to fight prior to this devinhaney fight. And I ain't sure that's what you're getting for devinhaney, because the most devinhaney ever got prior to that, even that Ryan Garcia situation, was $1.5 million. Even though Devin was out here lying about all the purses he was getting until Eddie and Bob and people that done business with him exposes it. So if you consider your son to be a top guy, Senior, Jaron Ennis tried to fight him, so you lied on the man. You don't know who he gonna fight at 154. Eddie Hearn said that Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz has already agreed to fight in February. Then Virgil Ortiz gets out here on his Twitter and say, well, they ain't reach out to me, but they reached out to my team. I'm going to make a video about that as well. Because he started speaking in third person on his own Twitter account, which makes me think it wasn't Virgil tweeting none of that. Now I'm starting to think Virgil Ortiz don't even run his own social media, because the post said Virgil wasn't talked to. Maybe Eddie talked to Virgil team. Why would Virgil speak like that on a tweet if it was him? Anyway, I pay attention too much. Senior, when y'all turned down a fight with Jaron Ennis, you wanted everybody to be understanding and give you grace and hear your explanation for why. Well, Senior, if Jaron Ennis don't want to fight some of those guys, how you know he ain't turned it down? Because he wants more money. I mean, Senior, wouldn't he be within his rights if he turned down a fight because he wanted more money, Senior? I would love for Brian Norman Sr. to hop on my live and come talk to me. It ain't going to be no cussing out. I got too much respect for Tay Jones and how he handles stuff. It won't be no cussing out. I just got some questions, my guy. We call that being a hypocrite. You told Bill to stop talking about Brian Norman, about Jaron Ennis, but you don't stop. And actually, Bill got more of a reason to talk about Jaron Ennis. Well, Dean, what are you talking about? Whether we agree, don't agree, Jaron Ennis was offered a fight for Devinhaney. Jaron turned it down. Brian Norman Sr. and Jr. turned down Jaron Ennis. You see the difference? Why are you still talking about Jaron Ennis and you are? Now, when somebody like me say you're using Jaron Ennis' name to build your profile, your son profile in your fight, I guess I'm wrong, right? If that wasn't the case, Mill City wouldn't ask you about him. Why? Because it does nothing for his platform. He's not on there asking you about Rolly Romero, is he? Brian Norman Sr., what you think about a fight with your son and Rolly Romero after Devin? He's not asking you about that. Senior, you can't be a hypocrite, bro. You can't come at Bill and say Bill acting scary because he want to use Jaron in his name. But brother, you doing the same thing and have done the same thing, and neither one of y'all have fought Jaron Ennis. And both of y'all made fights very quickly that couldn't get made very quickly with Jaron Ennis. So, Senior, if Jaron Ennis is turning down some of those guys at 154, if he's doing it for the money, you should applaud him. You should respect that. You should understand. You should be like, you know what, Boots? That's real, because I did the same exact thing. The difference is, you ain't verbally agreed to fight Jaron Ennis. Jaron Ennis has verbally agreed on camera and off to fight Virgil Ortiz. So when you say he ain't special and all of this, Briannormanjr Jr. is, though? Good luck keep trying to convince the world that Briannormanjr Jr. is more talented than Jaron Ennis when I know personally Jaron Ennis was beating your son up in sparring. I've done my own research, and I've talked to people who was there directly. So everybody's just lying on what they saw. Everybody's just lying. Senior, man, you undoing the work your guy Tay Jones has done. He out here really trying to mend fences and bridge the gap and keep your son's career going, bro. Bozy Ennis is not out here every interview trashing Briannormanjr Jr., y'all. And Bozy get interviews. And he's not talking about Briannormanjr Jr. But you said, Senior, you respect Bozy so much. I can't tell though, brother. Because you ain't showing him the same respect that you would want him to show your son, gang. You not doing it, bro. Those men gave you an opportunity for your son to work on his skills because y'all couldn't find that training in Atlanta. You've admitted that. Be careful who you help, man. That's one lesson in life. Be careful who you help. Gervonta Davis, Lamont Roach, Jaron Ennis, Briannormanjr Jr. Bozy Ennis is not carrying it like that, Senior. And you saying we just put him up there like Jaron Ennis has done more than your son, gang. They are only 4.5 years apart, gang. Your son about to be 24. Jaron Ennis just turned 28. Senior, Jaron Ennis was getting talked about like this 4 years ago. When he was becoming mandatories for Errol Spence and people like that, they just chose not to fight him either. When you turn down the fight, you want everybody to give you grace and understand that people arguing for you on your behalf on why you turned down fights. Jaron Ennis turned down fights and y'all don't care about his explanation, don't want to hear it, he's automatically a duck and don't want to fight none of the top guys at 154. It's just funny how that works. What if Jaron Ennis turned it down? Jaron Ennis don't fight nobody at 154. At Tell Turkey, you need 10 times your highest payday. I think Brian Norman Sr. would agree with you. Hey, y'all, if Boots asks for 10 times more of his highest payday, don't nobody call him a duck, okay? He's earned it. He's definitely the biggest name at 154 because Bud is not there no more. Earl, we don't know what he's doing. Jermell Charlo was in recess, and I don't think Jermell Charlo is a bigger name than Jaron Ennis today. So, Boots, anybody at 154 want to fight you, ask for 10 times your highest payday, my guy. Brian Norman Sr. should agree with you if you do that. Shout out to my guy, Tay Jones, man. Tay, I tried my best, brother. Trust me, my guy. If they stop, I'll stop, bro. But I can't keep letting them just keep putting out this propaganda because Boots not going to say nothing. Bozy not going to say nothing. And I'm not going to let dudes trash a guy that's representing my city to the highest. Jaron Ennis represents what we ask fighters to be. If Bozy Ennis was out here talking crazy about Junior, everybody would be in an uproar. If Jaron Ennis turned down a fight with Brian Norman Jr. for 10 times his highest payday, everybody would call him a duck. Senior, you got a real friend out here in Tay that's out here really doing the dirty work, trying to mend fences, getting conversations you ain't privy to. Tay didn't have to come up on my show and show love, but he did. And I respect him for that. And I'm a man of my word. But you got to be a man of yours as well, fam. If you want the Philly boys to lay off Junior, we've been supporting Junior with this Devin thing. We happy he got the fight. We haven't hated on ever since Jaron moved to 154. You haven't heard me talk about Brian Norman Jr. unless it was directly associated to Devin Haney. And Senior, just remember, you asked Bill to stop talking about Jaron Ennis because he moved up and he at 154. Senior, I'm going to ask you again. Can you take your own advice, my guy? Take your own advice. Do not be a hypocrite. You don't know why Jaron Ennis turned down or didn't, but you're the last person that can judge somebody turning down a fight when you don't know their reasons. Because you was defending it the opposite way at one point in time, Senior. You told Greg on Mill City, I got the memory of an elephant. Greg asked you, so why didn't you fight Boots before the Karen fight? Senior, you said we had to wait. I needed to see something. But now we ready now because I seen everything I needed to see. Senior, that was your words. I ain't got to lie on you, gang. I ain't got to lie on you, fam. I've been talking about with your son with the testing, the VADA conspiracy, Victor Conti. That's all from the Philly boys. Senior, we created that conversation. Shout out to manager Marty. Nobody was talking about that before us. And I was the first person when your son brought up, ain't that a conflict of interest? Didn't VADA work with Victor Conti and all that? You want to know where he got that from, sir? Me, sir. I was the first content creator talking about check into these testing agencies. Because it's their job to find things people claim is undetectable. That's their job. What are you paying them for if they can't do their job? Y'all already know what this is, though, right? Bing, buy, any, means. And I'll holla at y'all.